Hello and welcome to the MBA for the ADD series on hiring for success. During this session, we're going to talk about how building pyramids, people begging for work, and how to interview badly. Interested in finding out more? Well, stick around. If not, well, see ya. Let's first off talk about work. Most people are, despite some people's opinions, looking for meaningful work. Work does not necessarily involve sitting on the beach, sunning yourselves as a perfect job environment. On that same note, neither does a perfect job involve getting whipped and beaten like a slave. Most people are looking for meaningful work that matters, where they're building something constructively as a part of a team. When whips and chains and force gets involved, well, that didn't end up so well for the Egyptians. So are you sure that's what you want to do? Bottom line that I want to make is work can be fun. Actually, let me change that. Work must be fun. And as Mary Poppins famously said, in every job that must be done, there is an element of fun. And that bit of fun isn't always obvious. Mike Rowe, in his show Dirty Jobs, loves to interview strange and interesting people with what may at first glance be utterly disgusting jobs. And one of his famous quotes that I really love, he talked about a honey truck driver. Honey truck drivers, by the way, are mobile septic tank cleaning services for RV and trailer mobile home parks. And there's this guy who used to be a psychiatrist. Very clean, you would think, job. And he switched over to cleaning septic tanks for a living and couldn't be happier with the switch because it felt like it was less disgusting and because he wasn't trying to fix broken people's minds. He just liked cleaning out their, well, remains. And he was happier. It felt much more meaningful. The bottom line is, most jobs are dirty in some way. It's just, are you happy with the way that that job is dirty? Heck, there was a famous company called GameStop. And if you check out GameStop employee lawsuits, that brings up about 1 million results in about a third of a second. Thank you, Google. And because of all the innumerable problems that GameStop employees have had, brought up, etc. However, you talk to the right person in the right place, and a quote a friend of mine had said, who works at a GameStop, happened to get paid for talking about video games. Wow, he loves his job. He's very effective at his job. And by the way, for a really obscure location, he happens to run one heck of a store. And that takes business away from all the surrounding stores. People go out of their way to go to his store because it's more fun. Well, the bottom line is, same job, same company, very different person, very different results. Those results are the persons that you are looking for to help grow your business successfully and well. So, let's get down to this. How can you make sure that you are hiring the right people for the right job? First off, I believe that the right person for the job will beg for it. This is a person, his name is Kevin, who had worked for a company that I was closely involved with for quite a bit. And for about 3 years, Kevin kept on asking for the job. Well, you're too young. You don't have the proper training. And he kept on not getting interviewed. And as soon as he entered, well, it turned out that he learned twice as fast as all the people that we hired who were older and had better training. And he picked up and did a better job in about a month than they did after about 6. Right person, they cared, they were interested, they did a really superb job. So here's the first takeaway. People are drawn to jobs that they can love. If someone keeps on asking you about the job, maybe that's a sign that even if their qualifications aren't perfect, you should talk to them. Add them to your list of folks you talk to. They can quickly learn on the job if they're properly motivated, if they care. Takeaway number 2. If you advertise for the job, be honest. One thing that I often see is when I see job postings is that they put all the sugarcoating and wonderful and beautiful things about the job and how there's tremendous, unlimited potential. And you're going to get people to apply, but you're not necessarily going to get people who are going to be drawn to the job. Getting applicants is very rarely the problem. Usually the problem is getting the right applicants. And for that reason, I strongly suggest that you write frightening job ads. I want you to scare the living bejesus out of anyone who thinks that they might want to apply for the job. Scare them. Show them all the terrible things about the job. Long hours, low pay. You're going to be constantly yelled at your customers. And the right person for the job is probably going to go, you know what? That sounds like a fun challenge. I'm in. And the people who aren't the right people, great. They've just self-selected out. You won. So let's talk about interviewing while we're on the topic. First off, I view interviewing as a 3-step process. First off, the written interview. Don't waste your time and energy with spending much time or energy on someone who you don't think is qualified for the job. You want to set out the basic qualifications. The written interview should do that. Do they have the basic skill set? You can probably do that in 5 open-ended questions. If they're too lazy to answer the questions, great, you know to move on. And it helps you to evaluate whether or not the candidate knows what they're talking about enough to go to the next step. And if they do not know enough to go to the next step, at least they know how to research it, which is almost as good. 2, the verbal interview. I like having 8 pre-written questions. Same questions for everyone in the job, although, of course, you can add follow-up questions, get more information, pry a little bit. That's all good, but you want to keep the same basic format. The more you deviate from the format, the more you're going to be comparing apples and oranges when 2 candidates come close, and you got very different questions, very different responses from them. I also like to make sure you add in a fun or funny question. When I ran a computer services firm, one of the questions I would always ask is, what does a flux capacitor do inside of a computer? Now, for those of you who are Back to the Future fans or computer nerds, either one of you, the computer world nerds will know that a flux capacitor is not a part of a computer, and the Back to the Future nerds will know that that is an integral part of the time machine going 88 miles per hour DeLorean. Now, whenever someone would start BSing me on what a flux capacitor does in a computer, well, I knew right then and there that under stress, they would be lying to me. That took them very quickly and easily out of consideration. Easy, right? Even though it's a fun question. And frankly, the people who knew that that was a bogus question, it gave them an opportunity to really show their personalities, have fun, and remember, you're going to be spending more time with this person, depending on the job and how it's set up. You may be spending more time than your significant other with this person, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. Wow, that can drive you insane if you don't like each other. So get a sense of the personality. Get people relaxed. You'll get better answers. And when they can't relax or when they start BSing, you know to move on. Final interview, I was let the candidate, ask those questions. And you probably also want to bring up 2 or 3 questions that you don't think they answered terribly well, and I go under the theory of poke the bruise. Nobody is probably going to be perfect. Hell, if you run into the perfect candidate, they're probably asking for a lot more money than you really want to pay someone to do the job. Once again, no longer becoming the perfect candidate. Poke the bruise. Find out. Don't afraid to be a little bit mean. Remember, you're going to be stuck with this person for quite a bit, or you're going to be going through hell as you terminate them or they walk out after months of training. Neither one is a good solution. So, when you interview, who does most of the talking? Hint, they do. That's why you have your pre-written questions. Your job is to ask the question and be quiet and let them talk. If they don't talk you into why you should hire them, you don't need to talk them at all into why they should work for you. You're the one offering the job. Dang it. Next, focus the core job around what the employee loves to do. The core job, and sometimes you're going to need to change the job description to make this happen. But a core job done well is what you really need them to do. And that's what you're hiring them to do, and that's the primary goal. The perfect person may not fit your ideal needs, but make the job right for them, and the job will get done much better. Remember, takeaway number 3, never sell the job. Takeaway number 4, any questions. One other thing about the any questions is you always are looking for them to ask a few questions. Remember, if you have done a good job of not saying much about the company during the interview, they should have a handful of questions about the company. And if they don't, you should come up with a really good question to ask them to see how well they've really researched the company. There's a good chance that a great candidate actually doesn't have any good questions. And a great story about this. There's a GE recruiter I had talked to once who, when GE had recently changed their motto, she was interviewing a bunch of new candidates and would ask, so what's GE's motto? You get no points at all if you didn't know the motto and if you didn't ask a lot of questions. Well, then you clearly didn't do your homework and you clearly aren't curious enough about the company. Next. You got partial points for answering the old motto. Maybe you got old information, etc. But she had found that some of the best candidates didn't have any questions about the company. But they had done so much research, they knew off the top of their head what the new motto was, what the old motto was, and some of the reasons why GE changed their motto. Oh, of course you don't have any questions. You spent about a bajillion hours researching the company. Hey, she saw that as a very positive sign. Some other recruiters would not have asked that clarification question and would have passed on what turned out to be some really great candidates. One other takeaway is consider testing. In any company, there's usually 2 or 3 groups of people that do exceptionally well at a particular job. And there are ways, once you get past about 5 employees, you want to make sure that someone is a good fit. Or if they're purposely not a fit, you want to find out why. If you're a company of extroverted go-getters, you might want an introverted project manager who's very detail-oriented. If, on the other hand, you're a bunch of computer programmers or engineers and you're mostly introverts, you might need an extroverted salesperson. But that choice ought to be intentional, ought to be thought out, ought to be intelligent. And you want to make sure you're getting what you think you're getting. If not, bad things happen. So here at Leading Results in the Business Pediatricians, we focus on marketing, and one of the things that we can do, if you want, is we can help you hire and train a great marketing assistant. We're not terribly good at hiring other positions. I think hopefully you got a couple of hints that we've found over the ages that have helped. But if you are looking for a marketing assistant and communications assistant, that we can help you with. We can help you hire them. We can help you get going at full speed. Email us at info@leadingresults.com for more details and more information. I hope you enjoyed this edition of the MBA for the ADD. Please see more, businesspediatricians.com. I'll see you there. Thank you.